Satnam, and welcome to the introduction to Kirtan Kriya. So I wanted to offer a little bit more depth in terms of all of the pieces of Kirtan Kriya, which is a really beautiful and powerful meditation that really brings emotional balance, mental balance to your whole mind, psyche, electromagnetic field. And there are four basic components to this meditation. The first one is the mantra, which is using the seed sound current of Sat Nam. So you break Sat Nam into its seed parts and you become Sa, Ta, Na, Ma. So the A is pronounced like mum, like mom. Sa, ta, na, ma. And what we're doing with these is really taking each quality of the sound. So sa is related to infinity, which you can think of as kind of like the beginning, right? There's nothing yet. Everything is infinite. It's all in potential. Ta becomes life, where actually the existence becomes embodied. Na, from life we go into death. You can also think of death, not just physical death. You can also think of this as consciousness. So there is a moment when you are transforming where you literally have a death of identity, a death of everything that you knew, that you thought was true, and you suddenly enter a new space in your consciousness, and that literally is a death of that existence. So that's the quality of na. And ma is that rebirth possibility, because after death, after the change and transformation, there is this new beginning, and then we begin again with infinity. So as we are sealing, it's important to know that in your hand there are different elements, and there are planets and attributes for each one of your fingers. And so what we're doing, we are pressing the tips of the fingers, the fingertips. So sometimes you do it at the tips and sometimes at the fleshy part. So this is working with the fleshy part. You're pressing. You want to be able to press, not just touch. You really want to press with a little bit of action so that you're stimulating those points. And each quality then becomes activated and sealed because your thumb is your superego. This is the quality I like to call the superego, or the positive ego. It's the quality that brings the attributes of ego, which have to do with commitment and action in service to a higher self. Then you have Jupiter. Jupiter is your index finger, and that's the quality of wisdom. It's the attribute of wisdom. It's the attribute that brings possibility for change and expansion. The middle finger has to do with Saturn. It's ruled by Saturn. It might help you to know that the thumb is the element of earth. The Jupiter finger is the element of ether. You can think of earth as the embodied self, right? Ego. Then Jupiter has to do with the quality of wisdom and expansion. So that has to do with ether. It has the capacity to change and expand. Saturn is the middle finger, which is the taskmaster planet. It is the planet that brings patience and it brings perseverance. It is the quality of air. Your ring finger is ruled by the planet of Venus, and also bringing in the sun energy. The sun has to do with physical vitality. Venus has to do with grace and beauty. Your ring finger is fire, so you can think of it with the association of the sun. And it has to do with well, I guess I already talked about that, the attributes of physical vitality and grace. And then the pinky is ruled by the planet of Mercury. And that has to do with communication, whether it's communication with others or communication with yourself. And ultimately, Mercury, to remember that, just think of relationships, think of emotions, which are the field of relationships, and you will remember that Mercury has to do with water. So we feel the qualities of each of these. And so Kirtan Kriya is also balancing the elements in the body, the tattvas. So that is the mudras. That's what you're doing. You're matching the mudra with a mantra. The mantra is the bij sound, the seed sound current of Satnam, Satanama. What's unique about the way that we're doing this is we're doing it with a visualization, the L form of the energy field. So what we're doing is we're bringing the consonant in from the cosmic energy down. You can imagine that it comes down and drops into the pituitary gland and then comes out through the pineal gland, right? Sorry, the opposite. It comes down the crown chakra into the pineal gland, which is kind of in the center down inside your head. And then it goes straight out with the consonant of A, straight through the pituitary, through the third eye. So it's an L form here in meditation. So as you are doing the mantra, you are imagining this sound current dropping in, the S coming in and the A coming out. T, A, na, ma. So this is said to help move the energy qualities. So sometimes when you don't include that, it can give you a headache because of the way that you're activating the energy field. And then the final part is the voices. So we're using 3 voices. We start doing the mantra out loud, which is the human voice. That is the awareness of things of the world, the concrete reality. Then we go into a whisper, and that whisper is said to be the voice of the lover. And the voice of the lover is really to experience this sense of longing to belong. And then finally, the silence. We go into the silence, which is the voice of the divine. And that is about meditating on infinity and really mentally vibrating the sound current within. So there's a lot of elements, there's a lot of attributes to this. Go slow, be steady. You have 2 versions. One that is, so I should say that the maximum time for this, well, you can do it. The recommended practice to really master the effects of this, they say, is to do 2.5 hours for 40 days. If you do that, you master the elements and you master the experience of the infinite within the finite. You can easily do a 31-minute meditation. That is a beautiful way to do it. Usually that's the main invitation to practice this is 5 minutes each voice. So you start out loud, you go into a whisper, you go into silence, back into silence, whisper out loud, so that you have this flow. And then finally, you will, so basically, if you want to adjust the timing in any way, you can simply change the time. So you can do it 5 minutes, 3 minutes, 1 minute, and then always end in stillness. And so that is Kirtan Kriya. There are so many benefits, so many great things about this practice. I hope you explore them through practice and then go and get curious. There's a lot of information out there that you'll probably get from it. For now, you can find the links to the other recordings down below. Sat Nam.